Urban Polling Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Cochran. By trade, a doctor of physical therapy and a member of the clinical evidence team for urban polling. Today, I am joined by Dr. George Ackerman, founder of TogetherForSharon.com. He shares the heartbreaking story of his mother who passed away with Parkinson's, how he stepped in to be her care partner the last few years of her life, and now his continued advocacy in her honor that has allowed him to interview many wonderful individuals from the Parkinson's community. During our conversation, it is apparent that George has a huge heart. He is all about family and community and helping other people. So let's get started so you can hear this heartfelt conversation. Welcome, everyone. I am here with Dr. George Ackerman, who he asked me to introduce him as Sharon's son, George. He has founded Together for Sharon, and you have been all over social media doing wonderful things to advocate for people with Parkinson's. And I want to dig into that, but let's start with, can you tell us about your background and how you came to start Together for Sharon?
Yeah, thank you for your time. I'm so grateful, not just for this, but for your friendship over the last some time and your support and all your listeners means so much to not just me and my family, but millions around the world in this fight for a cure. The reason we talked before the show to say Sharon's son George, because no offense to my doctor or my background, a lot of what I do today is in memory of my mother. If it wasn't for her and our loss due to Parkinson's, I wouldn't really be here. I had social media, but not for this. I never dreamt it would grow. We started TogetherForSharon.com, and her memory, I thought like 3 or 4 people would see it, and I would have been happy with that. But we've noticed, and there's a little secret counter on the page, not secret now, but there's been over almost 40,000 people have visited. So I don't know if that's because of my advocacy or it's that the disease, unfortunately, is growing rapidly, not just in the U.S. but around the world. With 1 million people, they believe today, and that's not just the people diagnosed. Then you add all the caregivers and the community, so it's millions, and then people like me who lost a loved one add another 20 million. So unfortunately, it's growing, and as you know, in the public, we won't get into politics, but even now, Parkinson's is in the mouth and words of the media and the world, which in a way is sad, but also better for awareness, because the more awareness, closer will become to a cure. I can't bring my mother back, but I can, in her memory, end this disease for so many who I now consider also family, like you and those out there fighting this disease.
Yes, thank you. You're right. It is very sad and it continues to grow. But we're very fortunate to have people like you and other people really rallying to help bring awareness. Do you mind sharing a little, excuse me, a little bit about your mom's journey when she was diagnosed, kind of the progression? So maybe people that don't necessarily have a loved one or are just out there listening for urban polling, like kind of give them some background.
Sure, my mother had Parkinson's for 15 years, but she really didn't talk about it for, I'd say, 7. All I knew is that I heard the word Parkinson's. I didn't even know it was a disease. So I was kind of unaware. And part of it is she said at the time she didn't want to burden our family. And she also was told by so many medical professionals, experts in movement disorder, that you don't die of Parkinson's, you die with it. So to our shock, I never dreamt I would be tossed into the world of caregiving. I never even heard of caregiving except for, maybe what you see on TV very rarely. But on the 4th year before she passed, we tried many things, and the only big sign that I noticed was stiffness in her left arm. So she started having trouble even eating, like cutting her food. But it was still not so bad where she couldn't live independently. She was divorced and lived alone for many, like 20, 30 years. So she was always very independent. So it didn't kind of cripple her life until one day she decided with my father, even though they're divorced, he's an MD, so he tried to help her too. Took her to a special university, which I don't name because I don't blame them. It's the disease, not the doctors. They tried. But and then that was a trial for Parkinson's. Well, she came home that night. I think honestly, they might have, and I'm not a medical doctor. I'm only a PhD, which is in different area. I'm a police officer, a lawyer, and a PhD in criminal justice. So it's not my area. but she came home, and I think they might have drastically changed her medication because at 4 a.m. I got an emergency call to rush over to her home. When I arrived, I was kind of in shock. I saw my mother agitated, kind of flailing and worried, and I saw her moving her furniture out of her home. So I approached her and said, "Mom, what are you doing? Never seen this behavior ever before." She said she's moving her furniture out of her home because she's in fear the Nazis are inside and they're going to harm her. So number one, I'm like, do I have to get my firearm? And what's going on here? Then I realized there's something more. Rushed her to the hospital, and they said on top of maybe something like the medications were trained, but then they said we saved her life, but in a good way. But in a sad way, that was the downfall. Literally, from that one day till the fourth day of her 4 years, it was just a downhill spiral that I don't even understand. I personally never dealt with anything and never seen anything like that. Whether it's your mother, and who is my best friend, anyone, I don't ever want anyone to go through that again. And I kept a journal to myself that last year, and that's what spurred the book. I didn't really want to write a book. I have pictures and video of my mother the last year. I've never shared it, and not too bright. A month ago, for some reason, I looked in that folder, and I didn't sleep for weeks again because I saw, unless you're up close, it's tough to see what happens through Parkinson's, whether she just went from a healthy weight and walking several miles to 2 years cane, a year walker, and then wheelchair and bedbound, all in just 4 years. And also, just it was just shocking. Lost speech, loss of everything. The last 7 days of her life, it was just something. She had a heartbeat, but didn't even live. And they don't have the Death with Dignity Act in Florida. But just so you know, a lot of this, there's a lot of positive, unfortunately, or positive that comes from the darkness that I found, like meeting inspiring individuals like you and your organization, and so many people fighting today that have become like my brothers and sisters. And that's really why I do this. We don't accept money. If you send me $1, I'll send you back $1, but that'll cost me $2. Rather not do that. There's just a lot to this. There are days I wish I could stop, if we had a cure. But then again, no matter my own health issues, something about Parkinson's just kind of breaks my heart, and just can't stop till we find a cure.
Well, yes, you are very courageous, and that's a big step to step in as a caregiver, whether it be for family or for other people. Like, a caregiver is a huge role that a lot of the times they're unsung heroes that don't get a lot of credit. Do you mind telling me how old your mother was and how old you were when you stepped into the role?
I'm not the best mathematician, but she passed at 69, and I was there for 4 years, so that'll tell you that. At the time, right now, I'm going to be turning 47 next month. So if you minus that by almost 5, 6, so 5, let's see, so by about 7 or 8 years, that's what it
Okay.
would be, probably around my 4 something. I'm not good at math.
No, that's okay.
43.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw in math question there.
I imagine like if you read where you can put like little numbers going.
Yeah.
That was the one major I stayed away from. I have three masters, a law degree, PhD, and I don't want to talk about
Math.
math.
Okay. We'll step away from the math questions.
Yeah, that was
Um,
and I didn't really have a choice. I mean, in a way, I wouldn't be the man I am or have accomplished what I did today if it wasn't for my mother's sacrifices as a younger woman, or an adult. She had a master's in degree, and she was a school teacher. She literally gave it all up to raise me and my brother. My brother wasn't able to help like I was, so I decided this is, she needs me. Plus, on top of that, she only felt for some reason comfortable when I was nearby, and also we didn't talk about when I went back that same night of the horror night to bring her to the hospital. I went back to her home to pick up some clothes. That was the first night I ever learned about delusion and hallucinations, and I think they might have been caused from the medication, or she could have had late onset dementia forming. Not really sure, but around the whole room were post-it notes, and on the notes, which I never went in her room because I gave her privacy, but there were names of animals and people who are no longer alive, because at that point she couldn't understand or appreciate, reality much anymore. There were good times and bad moments, but it was something that I actually cried. And I'm 6'2", 6'2", 200 pounds in law enforcement, and not much makes me sad, but that was really one of the like kind of haunting memories that I have that won't go away in my lifetime.
Yeah, very, very sad. And hallucinations and delusions, I think, happen on a common basis, and not a lot of people know that, right? Like people know with Parkinson's that about the tremors, but there's so many other things that go along with it. And everybody's journey is different, and everybody's symptoms are individual. So thank you very much for sharing what you have today about your mother and yourself's journey. Let's dive a little bit more into Together for Sharon and tell us what your mission is and who your outreach is to and some of those important things.
Yeah, we started it just again in memory of my mother. I thought I have a few articles, videos, and just kind of remember her. But that it kind of grew, and then when I found, I knew there were about 1 million people in the U.S., but when I learned about an organization, it's like an international one, World Parkinson Congress, I was shocked to find out that there are 10 million people around the world, and I kind of, like, I don't want to keep my heart breaking, but I was shocked, like literally frozen, and I'm like, yeah, there has to be more to this. So I decided it's not about my mother and I anymore only. It was about the whole world, and I feel we have to be a family in this fight. 99.9% of the organizations and people are a team, like you are all my family. There are 1% that don't seem to want to work with people, which is really odd because I don't ask for anything literally in return. So it's I actually wrote another book about that coming in the future. So that'll be interesting and controversial. But so when I discovered that, I'm like, George, talking to myself, I guess I have to figure a way to also share other people's journeys, because the only journey that breaks my heart today is the one that I'm not aware of. And when I wake up and see people, riding across the world for raising money for Parkinson's, or push-ups for Parkinson's, or boxing, punching, for all these things, it's so amazing. And I don't think people are aware, and they need to be. So I interviewed about 800 people now, including, you all. And we offer these interviews from advocates, from people diagnosed, from people in memory of. I just started a whole new section in memory of loved ones who we've lost, and it's just incredible, the response. So those are all up there completely free. TogetherForSharon.com to come a life of its own, which in a way I'm really proud, because I don't really need to beg people to work with us now. It's kind of people coming to us, which is nice. And it's just me. It's not really us. My wife sometimes helps, but it's really just me. I wish I could stop it and end the whole thing, when we find a cure. But until then,
Absolutely.
and we have our own show now, which is just about Parkinson's, and it's the most incredible feeling is interviewing someone with Parkinson's and just talking to them and getting to know them and letting them talk about their journey. And I mean, I've seen some fascinating things to some tough things. One young woman who I love, her name's Barbara. We just interviewed her. And during the actual interview, she announced she's now wheelchair bound, which was heartbreaking. I had another gentleman, Dan O'Brien, who was a famous musician who played with Santana guitar. His career was over due to the disease, but he actually turned on and off the DBS during the show to show people what it's like and it's just incredible. So these are like moments you can't get through a written interview, but everything again is totally free. We also have a donation page, which all the money goes to organizations like Michael J. Fox. We do not accept a penny. And it's important to help fund for a cure, because I'm not a medical doctor. And also, we've donated $20,000 from our family to various organizations. Even the book we spent out like probably 20, 30,000, which I never really tell people, because I wanted it written properly, like edited. It's my mother's journey, and we really didn't make anything, and that's not why I'm here. I do wish the book would get out there more, because I think that it needs to be out there so people are aware. There's no other book from a son. I did the research, and feel free to write me, everyone, if I'm wrong. But there's no other book in the world that from a son who lost their mother due to Parkinson's. I find that shocking and astonishing, really. But we have a lot more coming soon, and it's growing. Last week, I got a message from Leah Thompson, she was a famous actress who played, I think, the mom of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. Her two brothers have Parkinson's now, so it's growing, unfortunately, in one way, but yes, good another way. I'm not into the whole celebrity thing, but I do think we need everybody together to spread the message and they reach more people. And finally, I had the honor to meet Michael J. Fox a few times now. And in a picture you'll see on the website, he's wearing the Together for Sharon band, which is a free band I hand out in memory of my mother. We don't accept money for it, but only live events now, because that's another great story. But it went viral when my mother passed somehow. I decided, somebody sent a picture and it gave me an idea. I'm a cop and lawyer, and I know people don't want their face on social media sometimes. So I put this band on, and then I started going places, even the supermarket and thing. I would hold it up and show the supermarket, and my face wasn't in it. So it was like a hand with a band. But I
Right.
started putting it everywhere I went, like the basketball court, supermarket, anywhere, Disney World. And it was like my mother was still with me and people were learning about it. And all of a sudden, like Willie Geist from NBC's wife was wearing one, Christina, and like it just went viral, like around the world. And it was crazy. I spent $1,000 sending them around the world. We stopped because I couldn't pay anymore. But it was just incredible to see, what can happen with a little bit of hope and never giving up. And that's really the final point. The only reason for all this is that I want someone out there, and if we even reach just one person today, we've changed the world. But if everyone out there going through this or family know they're never alone, that's my only mission and my goal, and that's when I can rest.
Are doing incredible things, and I'm learning things that I hadn't known before. But I did see that you met Michael J. Fox, and I'm very jealous. He was an icon when he was a movie star to me, but even more so now, right? Like, look at all that he has done in the capacity of his foundation and raising funds, and just being that positive impact for people with Parkinson's. So, how was it? I mean, can you give us a little bit more details in regards to meeting him in person?
Yeah, I mean, the first time was amazing. I had an rare opportunity in Florida where he was appearing at more like a comic thing, which I'm not a fan of all that stuff. It's great and all that. I'm so busy with Parkinson's awareness. That's all that matters in my own family. But I had ankle surgery the week before and I didn't know what to do. And I looked at my wife, who's really supportive in this, and she said, "You never know. This could be a one shot in your chance, lifetime experience." So I got one of those scooter things with the foot and I rolled like 3 miles there, don't I? And then in the heat, I didn't care. And then when you're there, it's not easy. It was like 2,000 people there or more. And it was rolling all. It was very hard, but I had the opportunity finally. They said, and I'm being honest, they said, don't talk to him, don't shake his, don't do. I didn't listen to any of the rules. I'm like, what is, I'm a police, I'm a police officer. So I had my 1 minute and I got in the room and it was like, the world flashes by, you're finally with him. But at the same time, I was excited. The other side of me was sad because I saw he couldn't really stand any longer, so he was seated. And I got to shake his hand and talk to him and do things, I handed him the band and he put it on. And I told him, I had a whole speech I memorized. I said, I don't remember it now, all of it, but I said, you're my hero. My mother unfortunately passed due to Parkinson's. Her name is Sharon. And he put the band on. He said he's sorry to hear. And I wanted him to know that we love him, that the whole community supports him, and that we're standing right by his side. I did have one more inch. I wanted to ask him for an interview in the future, but I didn't say it because a part of it, again, he wasn't doing well, in my opinion, and I didn't want to bother him. So I wish I did say it, but I don't think he would have. He was so many people and things, and people probably wanted me thrown out. It was just a great moment. I went to the bathroom though, and I cried because I felt so bad seeing. I felt like I saw a little of my mother in him. And then, ironically, the next time I saw him was at the Unity Walk for Michael J. Fox in New York City, that he spoke, but he wasn't, it was almost difficult to get to the stage. And then just a few weeks ago, I'm sure you've seen the video where it was incredible, him playing music, a guitar with Coldplay, the famous band, but then he was in a wheelchair. So it's, he's the voice of everything. And I'm worried, with his health, if he's not with us or something, God forbid, happen, it's going to probably crush a lot of people, including me, because as long as he's fighting, I'm right by his side. So, I don't hate a lot in life. I hate this disease, and anything I could do to just kind of, find even one more person, and that person find someone else, just so they know what Parkinson's is, and that I've done my best.
Absolutely, and you are doing great things. And for him, he's so courageous. He's definitely been the face, and showing people that, I mean, they can really fight this, and do some great things along the way. So, out of all of your other interviews that you've done, would you say that there's one favorite person or favorite product or favorite something that's coming up in regards to hope for people with Parkinson's?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of great people I've interviewed, but my exciting thing is my background is I'm an attorney in Florida and Washington, and then I became a police officer. I'm reserved now, and then I did a PhD in criminal justice. A lot of my advocacy in my life before caregiving was aiding African American mothers who lost their loved one due to murder in Florida. So I've been an advocate my whole life, but shifting to Parkinson's a lot I love just interviewing people because of this. It's like you meet someone we would never have met. So somebody I really admire. I mean, it's really just the regular people. I've had some incredible opportunities. Like I've interviewed Ted Thompson, who's in charge of the policy division of Michael J. Fox, who helped spearhead the national plan to end Parkinson's. I've interviewed United States Senator Rick Scott, U.S. Representative Paul Tonko from New York. So I was really trying to be very involved with the national plan, which passed. But I personally don't think that once it's passed, we're done. It's supposed to be implemented, so there's a lot more to go. But my favorite interviews are really those regular people who are, warriors to me and my family. For products, I've found your product very helpful. We'll get to, I hope. I've had, unfortunately, a lot of my own back issues. I've had 3 surgeries, and I don't mind sharing them because on my social media, it's actually given me more time to advocate for Parkinson's because sitting in the hospital for 10 hours with, not that I have nothing to do, but that's, my heart is, I feel like Parkinson's is in my blood, even if I'm not diagnosed because of I mean, I sat with my mother hand to hand through this hell. And, I didn't have it. I feel like sometimes if I coined the phrase, I have secondary Parkinson's because it doesn't just take your loved one, it takes a lot from you. I do feel I passed. A part of me isn't here with us anymore when she passed. And I feel like she lost 15 years alive. And I feel 15 afterwards because she was only 69. So that's too young. She had no other medical issues her whole life. So, but no, your product I like a lot if we get to because I've had ankle surgery, back surgery. It's crazy summer, and I use crutches which rip. It's not too detailed, but skin off my underarms. Then I had the walker, which is just kind of I didn't like. The wheelchair hurts my back. So this product, which I happen to have, and this is I'm not paid for this, everyone, but this is one your organization sent for free, which was really nice. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it's they're walking sticks, they're poles. But the reason I enjoy it and my kids love it is because it's kind of feel like I'm skiing, but I'm not having any danger. And they're very sturdy, but they don't put the pressure under my arms. And I just feel that I have a little bit more freedom. The only problem, like we said, is sometimes I forget them because I work a lot. I'm so much going on. Then they're in a different room. I'm like frustrated. But that's so maybe you need an alarm to put on to remind you. But
Right.
I think the nicest thing is number one, I don't have pain from it. Number two, it's so easy to use, and it even opens up. If you can see, and again, I'm just doing this because I wanted. Everyone listening, my amazing friend here didn't ask me one bit to even bring this. I'm doing my own. I can take. I'll read my. I have the right to remain silent. Anything,
Well, we
but
greatly
anyway,
appreciate the accolades in regards to he has our Activator 2 poles. And when we heard that he was going into surgery, we knew that this was going to be a great tool for him to be able to help recover because so many people they do help take the pressure off of your back and your ankle and your lower extremity because of that ledge that we have. And the other thing is that they help so many people with Parkinson's. They help people to stand upright and symmetrical and get that bigger leg swing. So hopefully, like you said, you like them and enjoy them. But for the people that you meet that that have Parkinson's, I think they would be a great tool. Or from my experience, um, I do work for urban polling, but I did not start there. And the only reason why I do is because they have such a great product. I'm actually a doctor of physical therapy, and I have seen so many people change. And like you said, they're better than canes, they're better than crutches, they're better than walkers to really help promote that upright posture and get people going again. So we greatly appreciate you giving
That's
praise to the activator polls.
You see all these people, and I have every social media, and everyone can go to TogetherForSharon.com. If you scroll down, you see like a Christmas tree. It's a tree link, or tree, yeah, and then you can follow me, and I'll follow you right back because it's just me. But I always see these people selling things and promoting, and I'm always like, I love to do that, but I don't want any money. So I would donate it all to all these like Drive Toward a Cure and Power Over Parkinson's and all these incredible organizations like American Parkinson's Disease Association, that I would love to help more. And like I said, if there's things like your product to me that can't hurt somebody, obviously we're not promising a cure, so I'm always on board and all in. That it can't hurt you to try. So yeah, that's why I do enjoy it. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that very much. So I think I guess, do you have anything else specifically that you would like to share with everybody? I'm going to ask
Yeah.
just maybe a few end questions here coming up.
Yeah, I have the book just came out just a few months ago, and it's a son's journey, and it's available on our website. If you go to togetherforsharon.com, click About Us, it'll go right to the page, or every single social media. If you click on my pin post, you'll be able to get on Amazon. And it's not that much money, and we don't really take any of the money. And at this point, we're just going to donate everything. We don't make a lot from it, but I don't want the money. I just want her journey out there. I do have, maybe I can read one page and one sentence or two, but just, I mean, it's tough, I
Please
poured
do.
my heart. Yeah. So page 28. So for the last year of my mother's life, I kept a journal. I wanted people to see the good, bad, and ugly of what Parkinson does, but also from the caregiver side. June 11th, 2019. Mother calls me from her home and begs me to pick her up so she can live with me. She says that some man harmed her in the past when she was younger, and I explained that no man will hurt you ever again. Then I said, I have a headache and feel sick after a call. This is getting harder for me every day. I still sit day and night trying to think of what I can do to help, but I feel helpless even with everything I've done and that I'm doing. So it's just kind of like a really inside look as to what I was going through. But the nice thing is, towards the middle and end, there are very positive things. It's not just a sad book, even though obviously I wish she was with us. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of positive things like what I'm doing today. And I don't think I would be able to, cope during that or today without my wife, my children, but more importantly, all of you, like this talk today, because I'm still grieving over 4 years, but while giving an opportunity like this to still like laugh a little and talk about her means the world. And one of the toughest things is the photo, if you see on the cover, it was the mother-son dance at my wedding, which was one of my favorite memories in my life. And the reason I put it on there is if you look, she's just smiling and happy. But in those 2 or 3 minutes, we danced to one of her favorite people, and now mine, Barry Manilow, "I Am Your Son." But during that song, like Parkinson's disease didn't exist, didn't matter, and it can never take those special moments from any of us. So there are some brighter sides to all this, and that's the main message of the book. Even though there's tough times, and even though obviously I wish she was with us, there is still hope for everyone today battling this disease. And you have me never giving up, and we'll fight right by everyone's side until we can close the page and end this disease.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you will always have the memories that you can share and cherish. And that is a great picture and a forever memory that will not fade. So thank you so much for being here. And so you're on Instagram,
I don't know.
LinkedIn,
Maybe I
Facebook,
don't
all
know. I don't know what happened. I used to have like one, and now it's everything. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, and then LinkedIn, which isn't it's quiet there. But I do have one more thing to say before we wrap up, and I'll wait till you say it's okay. But yeah, you can reach me at any of them. And like I said, if you follow me, email me. I'm always here. Some nights I don't sleep thinking about this because I, again, just don't want anyone to have to feel alone. And that's what I do it for.
Well, we greatly appreciate it. And like I said, you are doing great things. Have thoroughly enjoyed the interviews. You're getting to some of those people that don't give very many interviews, but definitely finding the people that specialize in helping the Parkinson's community. So thank you again. And I just have one last question for you. If you were to break down in one word, What is the one word that you would say about the activator poles that you have?
Let's see. That's a tough one. I think ease, maybe ease, because it's so easy to use. That's because, like I said, I mean, I'm 6'2", so I thought some of these things, like one time I bought crutches and I had to return them on Amazon, which was a nightmare because I couldn't use them. But this one went straight to my height, and it's easy because you just put it, you can, like I just showed you, fold it up. Open it up, and the kids love it too. I just had one more thing besides that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Message to you all, your organization, everyone listening. Again, please share this, support Joy and what they're doing, because again, if we're not a family in this fight, it's going to be tough. So we love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Joy, and everyone out there, will advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I always say I'm just getting started, because even meeting your group, I only met her like 6 months ago. I mean, I think I've known about you for a long time. I've been sharing, but I never got to talk. And it's just, you all inspire me to help anybody going through this. So individuals like you, and just in my brain, I imagine so many more people that I don't know about, and that's what really keeps me going. So again, grateful for your time, your friendship, and the time today. And again, I don't think this should end today. It's a conversation that everyone out there needs to share and needs to support you, and we need to be a family in this fight to be closer to a cure. So thank you again for this, and means the world to me.
Thank you very much for being our partner and our family.
Thank you.
This podcast was presented by Dr. Joy Cochran, PT DPT. Edited by Rodrigo Silva, Urban Polling Marketing Manager. You can buy Urban and Activator Poles visiting our website, urbanpolling.com, or on Amazon, searching for Activator Poles. Thank you for listening.